Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. I got my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. My son is back. I know you guys were worried. Thank you if you prayed and you were kind enough to get him back home. He's back from his big boy trip. He said he had fun. It was just raining all day, and his flight was delayed, of course, like 2 hours. But he made it. He did good. He's home. We washed all his clothes, and he took a big nap. So he had fun. He hung with his friend, and all was well. He came back in one piece, which I'm so happy for. My husband was laughing at me because he was just like, he swore I was acting so crazy, but. I mean, yeah, I love my kids. I'm sorry. And it's crazy because they get on my nerves too. But when your kid is like gone and you can't like control what's going on with them, it's like this out of body experience. So yeah, he's back. I'm back to cleaning up behind him. I used to actually, I guess that's what happens. The absence makes the heart grow fonder. Because I was very annoyed. I am very annoyed when I have to pick up behind my son, but. Then I kind of missed it, even though I did enjoy my house being super clean all weekend. But he's back now, leaving little crumbs and stuff around. Just kind of fine. I mean, I'll be over it again soon. Now that that's over, me and my husband can get ready to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We've been together for 10 years, which is crazy. Crazy. So we're gonna do something. I don't know what. I really couldn't focus on what me and my husband was doing because, like I said, my baby was gone. My baby was gone. My dog. She was somewhat happy to see him, but she really was not because we came in the door with food. So she was like, "Just give me some food." Today the Texans played the Cowboys and they pretty much demolished them. I think the score was like 38-10. And speaking of demolished, I beat my husband today in fantasy. He was hoping I didn't mention that, but I did. I got a win that's going to be pointless because I'm going to be cut anyway. So it was really a pointless win. And honestly, if I could have chose to lose, which I didn't even plan on winning, but Joe Mixon just really went crazy. He went crazy today. But yeah, other than that, y'all, that is it. Play Call of Duty. Like I said, it rained big time where I'm at, and also it was super windy. It was just like a lot of storms and everything going on here today. But that is it as far as my life. Like I said, my house is back intact. Everybody's under one roof and it's quiet again, which I enjoy. Now I can actually get some decent rest and not worry if I'm missing somebody's calls or texts or something like that. So I get to go back to that for a couple of days. That's why I enjoy the peace and quiet, because when it's peaceful and quiet, I love it. All right, y'all, let's get into this news. When the mountain fire tore through the AI or is it Al and Phyllis's neighborhood last week, they managed to escape, returning to assess the damage. They were expecting to find nothing and were shocked to discover one item untouched: their wedding album. A Wyoming state judge has ruled that 2 laws restricting and banning abortion in the state violate its constitution, making the procedure illegal up until the fetal viability for the time being. Pennsylvania Supreme Court orders election officials in the state to stop counting mail-in ballots marked with the wrong date or missing a date from their outer envelope. When a man arrived at New Hampshire Animal Shelter last week claiming he wanted to surrender 150 pet mice, the shelter was ready to take them in, but he later clarified that he had 150 tubs of mice to surrender. Yikes. Now how he get all them mice? A Northern California city has agreed to pay nearly $1 million to settle a lawsuit alleging that police used excessive force after a canine dog bit into a woman's scalp. Dang. Caroline Kennedy, the U.S. ambassador to Australia, criticized her cousin Robert F. Kennedy this week over his views on vaccination, calling them dangerous. A former roommate of the man charged with the unalivement of a Georgia nursing student testified Monday that he is the man seen in the video throwing away the jacket that prosecutors say that had Riley's blood on it. No foul play is suspected in the unalivement of a 19-year-old employee whose body was found in the store's walk-in oven in Canada last month at Walmart. A company tied to conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has filed to dispute the sale of the InfoWars website to The Onion, calling it improper and unfair. Members of the Hispanic and LGBTQ communities are being targeted with disturbing text messages by people hiding behind anonymous phone numbers. Dozens of pro-democracy activists have been sentenced to up to 10 years in prison in a Hong Kong trial criticized as a crackdown on a political dissent. Investigators in Russia are looking into the unalivement of Vladimir Shapovalov, a principal dancer at the world-famous Mariinsky Ballet in St. Petersburg, after he fell from an apartment balcony and passed away at the age of 39. Residents and environmental activists in Syracuse, New York, are demanding city officials to declare a state of emergency over what could be a worse lead contamination than the drinking water crisis in Flint, Michigan. They still ain't cleaned up Flint's water. The prosecution in the manslaughter trial of Daniel Penny, who was charged with the chokehold unalivement of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway, rested his case on Monday after calling more than 30 witnesses. I could see Trump pardoning that dude. The U.S. auto safety regulator has opened 2 new investigations into potential defects related to Ford vehicles. At least 5 people were wounded by falling shrapnel Monday after a missile fire from Lebanon was intercepted by the Israeli military over a street in the city of Ramat. RFK Jr. has pledged to transform America's food system, vowing to crack down on ultra-processed foods and food additives. I don't know how you're going to do that. Everything is so fake now. 2 women told House Ethics Committee that Matt Gaetz paid them for schmecks in Florida and flew them to New York and the Bahamas, their attorney says. President Trump names former Congressman Fox Business host Sean Duffy as his pick for Transportation Secretary, and next, he giving all the Fox employees some jobs, huh? An Illinois woman is charged with hate crimes after allegedly attacking a man for wearing a Palestine hoodie in a suburban Chicago Panera Bread over the weekend. I saw that. That lady was going crazy. There is no national debate of hospital sexual assaults, but a recent report found last year was the first in which a category of that assault and homicide was among the top 5 patient safety events reported by hospitals. Hey. What are they doing in them hospitals? I guess they're saying due to lean staffing and lax hiring and training flaws, the assaults are up. Hospital ain't even safe. An ex-army soldier who was previously court-martialed for pew-pewing a handcuffed Iraqi civilian has been sentenced to over 4 years in federal prison for assaulting officers during a January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Multiple weather fronts will push rain and snow into the Midwest, the Southeast, and the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast ahead of Thanksgiving week and some of the year's busiest travel days. Coca-Cola is facing backlash over an AI-made Christmas promotional video that social media are calling soulless and devoid of any actual creativity. I saw it, I guess, because it has some drag queens in there. Trump media is reportedly in advanced talks to buy cryptocurrency trading firm Bakkt, the Financial Times reports. The final NBC poll showed VP Harris losing voters who don't follow politics closely by double digits. The Library of Congress says hackers broke into its communication systems and were able to read its email correspondence with congressional offices for most of this year. Some last-minute holiday travelers are leaning into the so-called Travel Tuesday, or Tuesday after Cyber Monday, and Black Friday, which falls on December 3rd. Dental care supplier Henry Schein advanced in Monday trading as investors bet that Robert F. Kennedy could recommend removing fluoride from U.S. water systems, a move that could lead to a boom in dental visits. A lone knife-wielding assailant unalived 2 men and critically wounded a woman during an hours-long stabbing spree on Monday morning in the streets of New York. Dang. That's the thing. I almost wanted to go to New York to celebrate my anniversary, but I'm definitely going to scratch that off the list. 1 second. Will face trial nearly 3 years after an Indian family froze to unalignment while trying to cross the border from Canada to the U.S. The two are accused of being a part of a criminal network that stretched around the world. Whoopi Goldberg implied that a New York bakery allegedly refused to take her order because of her liberal politics, an accusation the bakery has denied. I don't know what is coming to this, but they're definitely making a bigger deal about this. People are trying to talk to the restaurant owners to see if that really happened. I saying Whoopi made it up. It's like, this was crazy. This dog, he thought that he was biting his toy, and Big Dog was like, I ain't having that, Big Dog. Dog was like, my bad. Poor guy. He didn't know no better. All right, let's see what else we got here, y'all. Joe Budden seemingly shades Cardi B over accurate prediction of her album delay. Why are you so concerned, Joe? Why are you in Cardi's pockets? Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield tease fans over a potential trilogy fight. You know what? They might as well do another fake fight, because that's all these dudes are doing these days. Why not pay them? They should be paid too. Pac-Man Jones says man called him the N-word prior to his recent arrest. ACLU is suing Trump over his mass deportation plans. Dame Dash reflects on New York State's purchase of Rockefeller share and calls out lack of interest. Let's see here. Y'all know that I'm multitasking. Alright. Shine says Diddy only gave him $50,000 for the 10-year bid he did. Shine is doing a lot of interviews on this Diddy stuff. NBA YoungBoy pleads guilty to posing as a doctor in a Utah pharmacy scam and avoids Utah State prison time. I don't know how he posed as a doctor, but okay. Y'all, it's just like this sometimes. Candace Owens responds to Tina Knowles after the $10 million Beyonce Kamala Harris rumor gets shut down. And Candace was pretty much mad because Tina told her she was lying and that they had Instagram flag her post. And she swears that Beyonce tweets from a burner account. But it's like, Candace, you know, why are you messing with them people? But I get it. It keeps her relevant. President Trump did confirm that he is doing a national emergency for mass deportations with military support. It's an interesting project. Pharrell Williams unveils a $60,000 Louis Vuitton doghouse. If you want to live like that, I mean, it's so funny when we live in this kind of economy that people can also purchase stuff like that. Colombia votes to outlaw child marriage. Everybody want to have a boxing match now. Now that it's paid. Russia warns the U.S. over allowing Ukraine to hit Russian soil with longer range weapons. A fan paid $653.18 for pepperoni pizza and chicken tenders at a University of Las Vegas football game. I don't know why he thought it was going to be cheap. Number one, Vegas. Number two, stadium, anything. Kim Kardashian has her Tesla robot already. Of course she does. Oh, the rich. Women are okay with dating a man as long as he's a deadbeat, which is actually not at all true. If I know you got kids and you ain't taking care of them, Somebody said, is she speaking from experience, or who the heck would want to date a deadbeat knowingly? Somebody said, what species is this thing? Diddy's legal team accuses the feds of violating his civil rights with a jail cell raid. They claim, I guess they did they raided his cell, took some notes and stuff like that. Diddy, I just want to know, where did he think he's staying at? Because that's kind of the norm in jail. They can raid your cell at any time. Kind of what happens in there. Alright, let's see what else we got here, y'all. If you have a high school student that works, should they contribute to household expenses? I didn't make my kids do it until they got older, like grown. Like my son finally contributes and he's 21. And he buys like his own food only by his choice. Like he can eat what's at home, but if he wants something special, he'll buy his own food. But I don't believe in having your high schoolers pay bills. I would charge them a couple $100 in rent per month, save it without telling them. When they decide to move, I'd give it to them. How will you use the do you pay rent question on him or her then? No, they should keep it for what they want, and you provide all their needs as a parent. Somebody said my son won't have to save it for college and gas. I mean, you should definitely teach your kids how to save, because kids do blow money and they need that money. But as far as having them pay bills in high school, nah. Somebody said they should be paying their own phone bill and car insurance. I think if you could charge them anything, it should be put aside for when they leave your house. Well, let's say want something out of this ordinary, out of the world, like that. They got their little jobs. They want to buy like clothes, shoes, like extra from what the basics. Then yeah. Definitely. But as far as paying bills, they got their whole life to pay bills. Tyrese is back on the internet with a message to the mothers of his children. Tyrese, he gonna always put us in his business. Mike Tyson received $250,000 offer from an adult site after his behind was exposed during the boxing match interview. They said, Tyson, you want to make more money off of them cakes? All right, y'all. I think really we should be caught up. See what Reddit got going on. What did you see in someone's home that told you they're rich? My friend dad was an oil tycoon. He had a T-Rex skeleton in his hallway. A kid that I was friends with in high school, his parents had a new house, custom built, huge houses, custom woodwork, beautiful details throughout, very expensive. I used to go over and hang out with my friend and swim in the pool, watch movies in the theater, etc. But despite all that, the thing that stood out to me was that one day I walked in and there was a brand new piano in the living room. His mom always wanted to learn to play the piano, so she bought it. Not even in their house, was driving to their home and was looking for which side of the street, the main road they were on, when the GPS said, "You've arrived," but I saw no house, made a U-turn and realized the side of the street was actually their driveway. Ballin'. I've never had a rich friend. Once a friend invited me to go with him to his family's farm for the holidays. I was driving and it was such a long drive. Once we were inside the dirt road that was simply endless. 40 minutes in, I asked, when did we get to the property? He looked confused and said, we've been at the property for 40 minutes. Basically, the farmland is 100,000 acres big. This was in Argentina. You're at their fourth home. No full street address, just name of their house, Hampshire. When I was a kid, it was a bidet. Now that I'm an adult, it's a La Cognon Range. If your couch isn't up against the wall. What is something that is automatic? I'm not eating here. We need to leave. If I go in and see a John Wayne picture or something like that, I'm not eating there. If I go in and it's like too dark, I don't like too dark restaurants. I don't like restaurants that don't have ventilation. If it's a smell, immediately smell. If I can smell the urine, the bathroom, I'm not eating there. Like, yeah. It's a lot of reasons. And then if I go in and ain't nobody greeting me for a certain amount of time, I'm out. And then if I sit at the table and you have not came to help me, I'm out. Because you just don't need my business. Somebody said, I went to the diner near me recently I had never heard of. There was no one eating at the tables on the inside. The woman who was at the front entrance walked away into the kitchen, and when I walked in the door, the dude came out the kitchen and stood in her place and refused to acknowledge me. Then a girl came up and said something to him, and he said, so they pretty much ignored you. Yeah, see, if you do that to me, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna straight leave. Because you don't need my business. No soap in the bathroom and no hint that it just ran out. Like there was no dispenser on the wall, just no empty container, anything. Someone handling the food while wearing gloves, but then using the gloves' hands to handle money. The smell of a dirty grease trap. Lots of flies. Gordon Ramsay is filming inside. It's mostly empty and the staff acts surprised and confused about your presence. It's a hint that selling food isn't their main business. Alright, let's see what else we got. What instantly says you're dumb without saying you're dumb? Honking continuously when stuck in a traffic jam. Yeah, I never get that. And when you race to speed and you end up at the light at the same time as a person you try to drive off frantically around. I'm going to sue you. Okay, mister. Have a nice day. When people are unwilling to change their opinion based on new information. Getting lost inside your own litter box. I get that you're very small and confused by the world all the time, but you've been using a litter box for a decade, and if you're still forgetting how to use the flap door, I can only help so much. Being a flat earther, the sheer amount of evidence you need to ignore. Talking on a speakerphone in public when the phone is right next to your face. When you make a valid point and someone's responds with, whatever. Arguing about semantics when you know exactly what the F the other person meant. Identifying as a sovereign citizen. Absolutely. I tell my sister this all the time. Like, anybody that does that, I don't know what world you're living in. I've not read a Am I the A-hole in a while. Let's see if any interesting ones are on here. Am I the a-hole for ghost saucing my coworker who always steals my lunch? I have a coworker, Mike, who's 30, who constantly steals people's food from the office fridge, including mine. I've caught him red-handed twice, but he always plays dumb or says, oh, I thought it was mine. HR has done nothing about this, and there's no proof that it's not worth it. Escalating further, last week I decided to take matters into my own hands. I made a special lunch of pasta with extra hot ghost pepper sauce. For the context, I handle spicy pretty well, but this stuff is lethal for the unprepared. Sure enough, within an hour, Mike was coughing, red-faced, and downing water at his desk. He yelled at me, asking why I brought hazardous food to work and accused me of trying to hurt him. I calmly replied that it was my lunch, clearly labeled, and asked why he ate it. Now some coworkers are calling. Hold on, y'all. Alright, y'all, I'm back. So, on the guy with the food, he's not the a-hole, but you have to be careful with that, because I read somewhere that they can actually lock you up for like purposely tampering with your own food, even if somebody is stealing your food. So be careful with that for all of you people that want to pay back, to get the big payback. Other than that, let's get into these story times, y'all.
Not my wallet. Christ. What just happened? Dad! What? Oh God! Oh God! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
The little girl was like, I'm getting out of here. That was just all crazy. Yeah, they all need to go back in the house and not come back out for at least a week.
Black Americans have been responsible for many inventions that shape our daily lives, yet their contributions often go unrecognized. In 1853, George Crumb accidentally invented potato chips when a customer complained about thick-cut fries. To spite him, Crumb sliced potatoes paper thin, fried them to a crisp, and seasoned them, creating the beloved snack we enjoy today. Elevator safety was revolutionized by Alexander Miles in 1887 when he invented automatic doors that open and close on their own. This innovation drastically reduced the risk of accidents involving open elevator shafts. Frederick McKinley Jones transformed the food and transport industries in 1940 by inventing the refrigerated truck. His portable cooling units allowed fresh produce, dairy, and meat to be transported over long distances, forever changing food distribution. Otis Boykin enhanced the stethoscope, making it more precise and reliable for diagnosing heart conditions. His electrical innovations extended to the pacemaker, improving its functionality to regulate heartbeats. Granville T. Woods invented an early incubator that automatically regulated temperature, improving survival rates for premature babies. Frederick Jones also invented a portable X-ray machine during during World War II, allowing battlefield medics to perform crucial diagnostics on the spot, saving numerous soldiers' lives. The automatic car wash system we use today traces back to Richard Spikes, who automated car cleaning in 1913, making it faster and more efficient. Lastly, the concept of crowdfunding was pioneered by O.W. Gurley, a key figure behind Tulsa's Black Wall Street. His efforts helped fund black-owned businesses, laying the groundwork for modern platforms like Kickstarter. These inventors, despite facing significant challenges, revolutionized industry. Their ingenuity not only solved problems of their time, but continues to impact our lives today, inspiring future generations to innovate.
Innovate.
Where she bought the ticket to cash in her winnings. She thought she won at least $500. She says the clerk in this lucky store took her ticket, scanned it, and the machine sang a winning tune.
It said, "Eee!" A beep made a sound on the machine, and then a pink sales slip came out, and he just grabbed it.
Amelia says the clerk wouldn't give her that validation slip showing her winnings or return her scratch ticket. After some back and forth, he handed her $500 cash from the register.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But even with that money in hand, she had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
When I called the lottery people and the police,
it would appear that what he did was he took the validation slip, kind of crumpled it up quickly, threw it away or otherwise disposed of it, kept it away from the customer, and attempted to pay her approximately $500 in cash.
Executive Director Mike Sweeney says the ticket was worth double that payout. Investigators determined the clerk was trying to pocket the winnings and cash in Amelia's ticket for himself. After she made multiple trips to the store, the clerk gave her the rest of her money, but since she still didn't have her ticket, she had no idea what she actually won. Where she bought the ticket,
Me and that clerk would have been fighting. But number two, she should have took a picture of that right off bat if she thought she won. Like, right off bat, man. Like, that's messed up.
And sometimes you gotta be careful about who you talk to online. Meet Shane, a guy who found out this girl he liked was talking to other dudes, so he tried to cut her. But the story is much deeper than that, and it all starts because Shane had a problem. He was playing this online game called RuneScape. Now, for those of you that don't know, RuneScape, super legendary, old school game. This is where he spends most of his time. You don't talk to anybody outside. Cool. He playing the game. He meets a girl. Her name's Farah. She said, "What's good?" He types in, "How do I know you're really a girl?" She types back, "You're so funny." He says, "You want to talk outside on Messenger?" Which is kind of like Skype. She says, "Haha, sure." So they get to talking on Messenger, all that. They cool. They become fast friends. Then Shane suddenly gets in his head, wait a second. If she's talking to me, chances are she might be talking to other people. So he gets instantly jealous. He says, "But really though, Farah, who else you talking to?" She said, "What you mean? We're not in a relationship or anything." He said, "Okay." He hacks her computer. And with this hack, he's able to monitor the people she's talking to. He finds out that she is, in fact, talking to other guys. So he confronts her. He says, "Aha." She said, "Aha, what? We're not in a relationship." How did you find out all that? He said, "You didn't let me finish." I was going to say, "Aha, ha, ha. I hacked your computer." That's a joke. Or I said... And she stopped talking to him. Years later, he hits her back up saying, "Yo, my fault. I was wilding back then, like I was doing way too much." And by the way, to all my young ladies, if you get a red flag that big, block that person and never speak to them again. Anyway, he hits her up, says, "Yo, forgive me." She says, "All right, you got it. Let's talk again." But this time they're a little bit older. They flirting a little bit and all that. He says, "Man, this is going great. But what if she's talking to other dudes?" But then he says, "You know what? I'm doing too much. Let me forget about all that. Hey, it's Christmas, Farah. Let's send each other presents." She said, "Cool." They send each other presents. But to send someone presents, you need their address. She sends her address over to him. But she's probably thinking it's cool. They've known each other for years. She lives in the UK. He lives in the United States. He's not that crazy, right? Okay. She then tells him, "Look, Shane, we got to stop doing all this flirty stuff because I'm Muslim. My parents not going to allow me to, do all this, that, and the third." He says, "Baby, no." She said, No, don't worry. We can stay friends." He said, "That's not good enough." So he hacks her computer. He said, "Man, that's cap. Look at me. I'm Shane. There's got to be another reason." He finds out that she talking flirty with other dudes as well. He said, "Aha." She said, "Did you hack my computer again?" He said, "Oops, I did it again. You play what? She said, I'm blocking you. He said, baby, no. Well, hold on. Remember when I told you they sent each other presents? Well, he got her an Xbox. So he's like, yo, give me my Xbox back. Now, let me tell you something about a manipulative person who Shane is. He don't really want the Xbox back. He's hoping that she don't give it to him so he can have an excuse to be angry. But too bad for him. Farah seems like a genuinely nice girl. She said, oh, I just sold it to someone online. He said, I knew. She said, but I would love to give you the money, though. She said, so please send me your bank information because it is an expensive gift. She said, go ahead. He said, he gives her the wrong information. He resorts back to extreme jealousy. Why are you over here talking to other dudes, this and that? They get in a huge argument. She says, I'm never speaking to you again. Get out of my life. He says, bet. And here's where things start to get wicked. Now Shane wildin'. He looks up how to get away with somebody. He gets a flight. He flies over to UK with a giant sharp poking item. Now remember, he has her address. So he gets a hotel 20 minutes away from where she stays. He scopes out her spot. He sees, okay, she live right there. He go back home. 3 in the morning, he waits in her garden and watches her. He almost thinks about not going through with what he's about to do, but then he looks back at the chats that she was having with those other dudes, and he says, bet. He breaks into her house, jumps on top of her, and starts. But it turns out Shane not like that. Farah starts screaming. So her brother rushes in and says, word, what's going on? He says, So him and the brother start scrapping. He really gets the brother, like permanently damages the brother's hands. Red stuff flying everywhere from Farah and Farah's brother. Their dad, Farah's dad, rushes in because he hears the brother screaming. We're getting, Dad grabs Shane. Brother losing his red stuff, but he staggers up and says, bet, I got some for you. You want to play with weapons? I got some for you. So he goes in his room, grabs a metal pipe from under his bed and says, Pops, don't worry, I got this. Shane, you want to hit me with the 1Vs or what? Shane said, you got something now too? They start boxing. Brother whoops Shane on the floor, saying, yo, I'm done. Brother said, Bismillah. Calls the police. Police come over, lock Shane up. Farah's brother Muhammad gets an award from the Popo from this. He's in the hospital with Farah for like days getting treated for their wounds. Shane gets taken to hospital too because brother put the paws on him. He says, yo, I was trying to get my stuff back from Farah, so I kind of lost it. You know what I'm saying? The police said, tell it to the judge. Literally. So they go over to the judge. Judge says, what's the problem, Shane? Shane's lawyer says, Shane, don't worry, I got this. Your Honor, Shane was lying. He was really jealous. He wasn't really trying to get his stuff back, Shane's lawyer said. And it also seems he was hearing voices and all that. So, the police come in and say, yeah, Shane told us he was hearing voices at first, but then he told us, okay, the real reason he did all this was because he was jealous. And the voices he was hearing was the voices of other dudes talking to Farah because he hacked her computer. He wasn't insane. On top of all that, he basically left a Google trail of everything he did. Like I told you earlier, he searched up how to get away with somebody and all that. He even had a device to wipe Farah's computer clean so this wouldn't trace back to him. This isn't a good look for him because you planned this and you tried to get away with it. So you're not insane. But at one point, Shane said he was gonna himself after he did what he did, which funny enough is a better look for him because it shows he was crazy in love, felt like he had no choice. But then they found concert tickets and he was gonna fly from the UK to Amsterdam to attend that concert. They said, oh, you had plans, huh? The lawyer said, hey, yo. I mean, he's just a sad kid in love. I think the lawyer was going for like some sort of sympathetic angle, but they were not going for it. The judge begins to lay into Shane. So the judge tells him, you meticulously planned this whole thing. You have a high degree of narcissism, and this part's important. He says, you felt you were mistreated by a female, so you became a predatory, manipulative human being and thought you were able to do all this, that you had the right to do all this. And I find that part very important because a lot of dudes can be like this. So girls, especially my young women, you gotta watch out for that manipulation because some people will feel like they have the right to do a certain thing since they got hurt themselves. But anyway, I digress. He gets locked up. And I believe his sentence was for 8.5 years since it was attempted Farah and Farah's brother, as you could probably imagine, said they still think about this incident and, it's giving them some stress. As for Shane, he also testified he had a troubled upbringing with his parents really heavily into drinking, and that led him deep into the online world. When the police told his parents, by the way, you know what your son did? They said, in the dance competition? Yeah, he told his parents that he was flying over to a dance competition. They said, no, he tried to somebody. His parents said, damn. And well, that's really it. Don't give anyone your information, because I have seen so many instances in the stories that I talk about where someone has been found because their address got leaked.
Be safe out there, y'all. 8.5 years. He needs like some psychiatric therapy.
Places you didn't know about.
We have possession of bodies.
Yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures, or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon.
Is this part of the Lockheed Martin discussion, or is this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has there been to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word, because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble 2 F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness. Certainly there seems to be some indication that they're being provocative, meaning that they're, in some cases, literally splitting aircraft formations right down the middle. So that's an air safety issue. The question is it the frequency increasing? And the response is, it depends. Yes, it's possible that there is an increase in frequency, but it's also possible that there's heightened awareness now, and there's also more pervasiveness of technology out there that's collecting this information and that can record this information. So we're not quite sure yet if it's actually an increase in numbers of these events, or is it that we have better equipment now to record these things?
We have possession of bombs.
And the fact that we have aliens, which we've always known, nobody even cares anymore. It's just like, oh well, just another day on Earth.
I don't want to go to heaven today. No matter what, I'm going to heaven today. I don't want to.
I'm sorry. This is Charles Alexander. I'm with Oakland. I'm going to stop this car. I need the police to not come up. Do you know who I am?
Yes, sir. Where are you at right now?
I'm getting off the exit, 18 Akron Medina. I need them to not approach this car. Tell them I am going to off us both if they don't back off. Stay back! Stay back! I will shoot us both! Stay back!
Please don't.
Stay back!
Please tell them that I'm here.
I want to talk to her mother.
Don't aim it at me.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Don't aim at me, you promise?
Yeah.
You still there?
Yeah.
And she's still there. Everybody, you're keeping her safe, right?
For now.
Listen just one second. Hold on. I am trying to help.
How do you know you're going to heaven?
We're both going.
What?
We're both going.
I'm going to heaven?
Yeah, babe.
How do you know?
Because you're a good person.
I don't want to go to heaven today.
I didn't want it to happen either. I just want to talk to your mother.
Stay here. Stay on the line. We don't need to do anything yet. We don't need to make any decisions yet. Just stay on the line. You don't need to make any decisions, okay? I know you love your daughter. I know you do. And you don't want to hurt her, and you didn't want it to be like this. I know. But let's not do anything that we can't undo, okay?
Not letting me go to heaven.
No, I love you. I love you so much.
Just hold on one second. Just bear with me. We want to get her help. I know. No, it's not too late.
It's too late.
It's not too late.
It's too late. I've tried for 2 years. I was giving her a chance to say bye to her mother.
I know, but hold on. Wait a second. No, that's not. No. Listen to me. Take a breath. Take a breath.
Heaven today?
Yes, son.
No.
Do you promise I'm going to heaven today?
If you're listening, Ashley, you should have called me.
Am I going to heaven today? I don't want to go to heaven today. No matter what, I'm going to heaven today. I don't want to.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to go.
Hold on a second. Hey, hold on. We're still here. We have options.
Promise you're not going to let me go to heaven today. So I'm not going to die.
You're getting an officer to talk to you that's there, that you could talk to, that's not going to approach you.
I don't want to talk to anyone.
Just keep talking to her. You don't want her to be scared. You don't want to hurt her. I know you don't want to hurt her. I know that this is about the courts and it being unfair. And let's not do anything that is going to make it even more unfair to her, because you love her. I know you do. You wouldn't be doing this if you didn't. You don't go through this if you don't. So let's not do anything that we can't fix, okay?
So thankfully he did not go through with it, but that poor little girl is just so sad.
You got on Daisy Dukes, man. Those little bitty goddamn shorts, man. You didn't talk to your girl about that before you came out in them little panties? You got on panties, my guy. That's crazy. You got one big nut and a little nut. I can see. He's like, how the f*** are you? Because it's sitting right there. Got a nutsack like Forrest Whitaker's eyes. What the big nut say to the little nut? Move over. Yeah, ballin'. We fly high, you know it. That's about your nuts. And then this your little malnutrition wife. What are you, vegan? Why are your shoulders so close together? Are you holding them like that? When you gonna just relax? What do you do for a living? Are you like a doula or some shit? You're a speech language pathologist? Why did that make you guys cheer? And what the f just happened, bro?
I'm a speech language pathologist.
With a lisp? That's crazy.
I'm a speech language pathologist.
You speak sign language too? A little bit? Okay. It's a petito. And what's your name? Cameron? Campbell? Camber. Whoa. That's why you got into that profession. You're sick of people your name up. You know what? I'm gonna change the world. My whole life, people been calling me Kimber, Camberly, and it's just Camber.
John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking... It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson, that's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and saying, hey, I could be there today, let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked, I keep getting back up, and then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later...
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48, and hopefully I don't lose any food.
It's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson, I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs?
I'm not taking any money for jobs.
A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
His unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?
What's the relevance?
I mean, you should be able to name the name of your company at the drop of a hat.
I should.
Could be a free ad on TV for you.
I don't need it.
What's the name of your company?
Ma'am. So what?
I just want to know what the name of your company is. You keep saying we.
Star Appliance.
Star Appliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that on his invoice then, Star Appliance?
Should be.
Okay, because it's not. If you notice on that invoice, the address for his business also leads to an apartment complex near Uptown Charlotte. We reached out to the Department of Consumer Affairs in South Carolina to see how many complaints they have against Jackson. We have yet to hear back. Swope did file a complaint with that department and has been assigned a claim number.
John Jackson, you going to hell, dog. All right, y'all, here's your inspiration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Have you ever survived anything? Have you ever survived anything? Have you ever gave up hope, and just when you gave up hope, hope didn't give up on you and grabbed hold of you in the depths? I've been preaching this all weekend, but I feel something special happening right now for somebody who is in an unexpected place, a strange place, a small place, a stuck place. The Bible says that those islanders were so kind to the prisoners, 276 of them in all, that they built them a fire. And Paul was such a good dude that he decided to help. So they're building a fire, and Paul doesn't want to stand over there like me at a Love Week event looking like some lazy preacher who doesn't know how to do anything. And Paul grabs a piece of wood. Look, it's right there in verse 3. He gathered a pile of brushwood, and as he put it on the fire, trying to help, a snake came out. So let's go back to everything that's happened to Paul. He's imprisoned for preaching the gospel. He's shipwrecked because the sailors are too stupid to follow his advice. Now he's cold on Malta. You're talking about Malta. Stuck and stranded, shivering and cold, uncertain in an unfamiliar place. And just as he thinks he's made it to safety, he gets struck by a snake. This is almost comical. Unless you've been there, when you thought the fight was going to be over, here comes something else. Have you ever? and this snake pops up out of the fire that Paul was simply trying to help them build on an island called Malta, where he never even planned to go. And the Bible says it fastened itself to his hand. So this is not some quick little, this snake bit down on Paul. And watch what the people did, because you got to be careful about people. Let me tell you, you got to be careful about people. Because when that happened, people will always assign a reason to why you're going through what you're going through. Well, if I were her husband, I would have left too. People will say stuff like that, not to you. They never say it to you. They just think it about you. They think that the reason bad things happen to you is because of something that you did. Well, the islanders are watching this guy who's got a snake on his hand, who just came crawling out of the sea with some seaweed around his ears, and he claims to be a preacher, and he claims to be a servant of God. And so if you're a servant of God, why isn't God protecting you? Has the devil tried to convince you lately that if you really had a God, you wouldn't be going through what you're going through? And so they stood back. They stood back and said, this dude, when they saw the snake hanging from his hand, which means it was there for a minute. When they saw the snake hanging from his hand, they drew their own conclusions. He must have done something wrong. He must be a murderer. He must be out of the will of God. For though he escaped the sea, the goddess Justice has not allowed him to live. I love the next verse because Paul preaches one of the most powerful sermons in the New Testament. Watch this. When Paul saw them all looking, he knew he had a captive audience. And verse 5 says that when Paul saw him looking, he said, and this may not be in your Bible, I'm reading from the TSV, the Taylor Swift version. He said, players gonna play. Come on, y'all, go back to 2014 with me for a minute. And haters gonna hate 5 times. That's a quintuplet in the New Testament. Heartbreaker's gonna break. We get the point, Pastor. You don't have to quote the whole chorus and the verse. But Paul's response, that's the word. Response, watch this. He didn't say a word. He didn't try to convince them that God was with him. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He didn't go on Facebook and write a response post. Watch what he did. He did what you've got to learn how to do when you make it through the storm and all hell breaks loose on the shore. Come on, when they talk about you, when it looks like this is the end, when you've been through it and it keeps coming. The Bible said Paul shook it off. 27 people say shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off right now before it gets in your system. Shake it off right now before it kills you. Shake it off right now while they're standing around watching you. You got to do it right now. Right now you got to shake it off. You don't take a vote from the island committee to see whether or not they think God is with you. No, Paul said, I got a revelation. God already told me I'm going to Rome, so I keep down on this island. I already know he'll never leave me or forsake me. I already know I'm more than a conqueror. I already know. So, if I'm going to Rome, I can't die on Malta. And when the sheikh fell off of Paul's hand and died in the fire, it wasn't a surprise to him. He knew it had to happen. It had to happen. Somebody say it had to happen. I had to survive. I had to make it. I had to get through it. God had to prove his power. I feel your presence, Lord. For everybody who's been wondering why, you've been stuck on the why land. You know what I'm saying? You've been so busy trying to figure out a reason, and God is trying to give you a revelation. Not just you, but everybody watching you. God wants everybody to see you shake it off. God wants everybody around you to see you trust him, though he slay you. And that's why the snake had to bite him. Because faith doesn't prevent me from getting bit. Faith doesn't prevent me from washing up on the shore. What I love about it is that after Paul shook the snake off, the people stood back and watched to see what was going to happen next. Because that's what they do. They don't bring you an ice pack or an aspirin. Talk to me. They will stand there and watch you. And the Bible says that they were shocked because they expected him to swell up. You know, you got some people that are surprised that you made it and surprised you're still happy. You know, they thought when they broke your heart you were going to quit. But look at you in church, worshiping God, serving God, believing God. Look at you. Look at you. So they're like, oh, let's see what happens next. Touch somebody, say, let's see what happens next. So they waited a long time, and then when they saw that he didn't swell up or turn into a walker, they changed their minds. This is why you cannot put your confidence in people. They changed their minds and said, he's a God. One minute he's a murderer, now he's a God. One minute Hosanna, the next minute crucify him. That's why your response cannot be to people. Even when I preach, I love you, but I can't preach for you. I can preach to you, but I can't preach for you. Because the thing that I say that you need to hear might make you cross your arms and get an attitude. Well, sit back and take it, honey, because if God sent it, I'm going to say it. All right, now watch this. I'll show you one more thing. So he shakes off the snake. They think he's going to die. He doesn't die. And cool place to end the sermon, I think, but I want to give you something that will maybe help you. Let me just see from a show of hands. Is there anybody in here who has found yourself in Malta recently? It could be a season. It could be. Malta represents, that stuck place. I think these are the kinds of questions, generic questions that people ask because we know that it's guaranteed to get 100% participation. I mean, who doesn't feel stuck from time to time? And that's kind of the point, isn't it? Is that we all must go through Malta. Wow. And Paul, at this point in the story, has a decision to make. Misery or mission? Misery or mission? Because we already read that it was rainy and cold. We already read that it was unfamiliar. We already read that the man almost died. And now he has a decision to make, and so do you, about this season of your life. Paul didn't decide to go to Malta, but now he has to decide what to do while he's there.
Yes, sir. That's good.
And he can sit and wait to get off this stupid island, or he can, he can do on Malta what he did in Jerusalem. All right, so Paul, they think he's a god now, right? So they're like, hey, this guy's important. And apparently the chief of the island hears about it, and he wants to have dinner with this guy who can survive a snake bite. So your opportunities in life will be the byproduct of adversity that you go through. And he gets invited to the home of the official on the island because he was able to stand up under the trial. You keep praying for the opportunity, but you don't want to stand up under the adversity. So somebody say it had to happen. I had to go through something. I had to prove perseverance. That's the only way my faith could grow to enable the opportunity. So there was an estate nearby. Look at this in verse 7. There was an estate nearby that belonged to Publius, which is, incidentally, a baby name that is available to any of you who are looking for something to name your child that will get them beat up. This guy's important, and he wants to see the guy who was able to stand up after the snake bite and survive the shipwreck. And he welcomed all of them into the home and showed generous hospitality for 3 days. And I'm imagining Paul's thinking, this is nice. But at some point during Paul's stay, he learns that Publius has a problem. Touch somebody, say, Publius has a problem. And Publius's problem is about to become Paul's opportunity. Because Publius's father was sick in bed with the Malta fever. And it's bad. He's got temperatures and dysentery. And Paul, when he heard about it, went in to see him. Now, the way I picture it, and maybe I'm using too much imagination, but I imagine that they're sitting down to a meal, and Paul sees somebody wheeled into the room and says, "Who's that?" And Publius says, "It's my dad." And Paul says, "What's wrong with him?" And Publius says, "He's sick, and there's nothing we can do about it." I imagine about right here is where Paul started smiling, which seems kind of weird, but maybe this is the moment that Paul realizes there was a reason I went through the storm. There was a reason the hurricane hit. There was a reason the ship had to break apart. There's a reason we had to run aground on Malta. Paul said, "Can I see it? Can we have a moment?" And the Bible says that when Paul went in to see him, he prayed for him. Wow. And watch the next part. You're going to love this. You look kind of military. Can I use you for an example? Sit down. Everybody sit down. Paul went in and prayed for him. And after prayer, somebody say it had to happen. Come on, Missouri, it had to happen. You had to be here at this sermon today. There's something God wanted to speak to you. You had to be here with the ZZ Top, beard, goatee. You had to be right there in that section. And Paul put his hand on Publius's dad's head. And when he put his hand on his head, the Bible says he was healed, which is a miracle all in its own. But what made it even more amazing to me was to realize that the same hand that the healing came through was the same hand that had a snake hanging from it just 3 days ago. Oh, come on, you all start praising God right now. What you went through that didn't kill you, that's... So, let me have your chair, sissy. Paul says, I can't keep the snake from biting me. Touch somebody, say it had to happen. The other day, Abby came up to me and she said, Elijah just bit me. I said, did you bite him back? She said, no, sir. I said, go upstairs and tell your brother you can bite me again if you want to. But Daddy said to tell you, if you bite me, I bite back. Now, that might not be good parenting, but this is good preaching. Somebody tell the devil, I bite back.
John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking it? It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson, that's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and say, hey, I could be there today, let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked, and I keep getting back up, and then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later,
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48. And hopefully I don't lose any food.
it's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson, I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs? A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
His unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?
What's the relevance?
I mean, you should be able to name the name of your company at the drop of a hat.
I should.
Could be a free ad on TV for you.
I don't need it.
What's the name of your company?
Ma'am. So what?
I just want to know what the name of your company is. You keep saying we.
Star Appliance.
Star Appliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that on his invoice then, Star Appliance?
Should be.
Okay, because it's not. If you notice on that invoice, the address for his business also leads to an apartment complex near Uptown Charlotte. We reached out to the Department of Consumer Affairs in South Carolina to see how many complaints they have against Jackson. We have yet to hear back. Swope did file a complaint with that department and has been assigned a claim number. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking... It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson, that's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and say, hey, I could be there today. Let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked. I keep getting back up. And then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later,
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48. And hopefully I don't lose any food.
it's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs? A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
His unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?
What's the relevance?
I mean, you should be able to name the name of your company at the drop of a hat.
I should.
Could be a free ad on TV for you.
I don't need it.
What's the name of your company?
Ma'am. So what?
I just want to know what the name of your company is. You keep saying we.
Star Appliance.
Star Appliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that on his invoice then, Star Appliance?
Should be.
Okay, because it's not. If you notice on that invoice, the address for his business also leads to an apartment complex near Uptown Charlotte. We reached out to the Department of Consumer Affairs in South Carolina to see how many complaints they have against Jackson. We have yet to hear back. Swope did file a complaint with that department and has been assigned a claim number. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking... It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson, that's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and say, hey, I could be there today. Let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked. I keep getting back up. And then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later...
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48. And hopefully I don't lose any food.
It's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs?
I'm not taking any money for jobs.
A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
His unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?
What's the relevance?
I mean, you should be able to name the name of your company at the drop of a hat.
I should.
Could be a free ad on TV for you.
I don't need it.
What's the name of your company?
Ma'am. So what?
I just want to know what the name of your company is. You keep saying we.
Star Appliance.
Star Appliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that on his invoice then, Star Appliance?
Should be.
Okay, because it's not. If you notice on that invoice, the address for his business also leads to an apartment complex near Uptown Charlotte. We reached out to the Department of Consumer Affairs in South Carolina to see how many complaints they have against Jackson. We have yet to hear back. Swope did file a complaint with that department and has been assigned a claim number. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking... It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson, that's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and saying, hey, I could be there today, let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked, I keep getting back up, and then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later...
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48. And hopefully I don't lose any food.
It's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs?
I'm not taking any money for jobs.
A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
This unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?
What's the relevance?
I mean, you should be able to name the name of your company at the drop of a hat.
I should.
Could be a free ad on TV for you.
I don't need it.
What's the name of your company?
Ma'am. So what?
I just want to know what the name of your company is. You keep saying we.
Star Appliance.
Star Appliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that on his invoice then, Star Appliance?
Should be.
Okay, because it's not. If you notice on that invoice, the address for his business also leads to an apartment complex near Uptown Charlotte. We reached out to the Department of Consumer Affairs in South Carolina to see how many complaints they have against Jackson. We have yet to hear back. Swope did file a complaint with that department and has been assigned a claim number. John Jackson. I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking... It's a story Queen City News has followed for more than 5 years. Complaints about a repairman who takes money for jobs he never completes. It's resulted in honest people being out hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today I traveled to McConnell, South Carolina, where a man says the same guy ripped him off, and he only discovered who he was by watching one of our stories.
John Jackson. That's when I knew it was him.
Watching one of our stories about John Jackson, Bill Swope immediately recognized the repairman who was at his house just a month prior.
It's just not right. I'm trying not to get choked up, but I'm angry. Really angry.
Bill has been through the ringer. The past few years, he's dealt with one family loss after another. He's in between jobs, and just last month, his fridge went out. He searched online for repairman near me to get it fixed.
Next thing you know, somebody's calling and say, hey, I could be there today. Let me help you.
He had no idea the guy coming to supposedly repair his fridge would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I keep getting kicked. I keep getting back up. And then this guy pulls this. I can see where people can be pushed to violence.
Invoices and Venmo receipts show Swope paid John Jackson more than $1,600. One was for the first repair. The other was when Jackson had to return when the fridge stopped working again. 6 weeks later,
Now the fridge still doesn't work. Freezer is not cold. I have blocks of ice in bottles to keep it at about 48. And hopefully I don't lose any food.
it's a similar story we've heard from past victims.
Never came back with us, never called us.
Called him multiple times, sent him text messages.
Repeated texts and calls were unanswered.
My number's blocked.
The Attorney General has banned John Jackson from doing work or advertising for repair jobs in North Carolina. John Jackson, I have been waiting to meet you, John. Why are you still taking money for jobs? A judge has ruled that you can't even advertise for work. We got your number off a website that is still there. We hired him for a fake repair job and he promptly showed up. Then this past June, we caught him on home surveillance in Salisbury doing the same thing. Calling him on a new number we got from his latest unhappy customer, we got him on the line.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this John?
Yes, it is.
He disputed that he wronged Swope and says his accusations are false. He said his fridge developed a leak after the repairs, adding,
This unit developed a leak. We went back and attempted to fix the leak.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
We, the company, us.
What's the name of your company?